Welcome, kiddos. Good to see you.
What are you doing? No. Don't talk.
How you doing, Levi?
Good.
I can see Austin, and I think Miss Mom is gonna join us. Miss Marley. Sherry, Miss Dryberg, excuse me, are you ready for your school year to wrap up?
No, I'm super sad that we're done. I just had a Zoom, I do a lunchroom Zoom chat with any of the 8th graders that want to come.
Oh, cool.
And they were all sad too. Yeah, I was like, oh. But at least I get to see them one more day when they drop off their computers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What day are you guys doing that again?
the 20th.
Okay.
So next Wednesday. Yep. Hey, Levi.
Yeah.
Hi. I don't know.
Huh? They shouldn't be able to hear us.
What happened?
You guys can say hi to each other and talk amongst yourselves as we wait for everyone to join us.
Yeah. Meeting settings. Hey, Sydney. The normal button where we change names is not here. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. There you go.
Fabulous fifth graders, I am excited that all of you were able to make it this afternoon. How this is gonna kind of look is that I'm gonna have Mr. Hockert and Miss Gunderson, your principal and counselor next year, introduce themselves. And then Miss Gunderson is gonna go through a slideshow, same slideshow she would have used for classes in years past, that kind of show you what life as the sixth grader will be like for you next year. And then at the end, we can do some question and answers. So I'm going to give over my host privileges to you, Miss Gunderson. And I'm hoping everybody's in, but I don't know, Haley, Miss Gunderson, if I give you my privileges, if you can see who is in the waiting room still. I just don't want anyone in the waiting room. So I'm gonna give my host privileges over to Miss Gunderson. And everybody else can mute their mics for the time being so we don't have any. No, Miss Hockert, Mr. Hockert.
All right, thank you, Miss Carlson. So if everyone can have their mics muted, that would help out a lot. I'm gonna go through our slideshow that we would go through if we were going to your classrooms. It's the same thing, and then at the end, we'll let you guys answer any questions that you have, or we'll ask any questions and answer those that you have. So I'm gonna share my screen here with you. All right, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. You guys see it? Yep, all right, perfect. So welcome to the middle school fifth graders, soon to be sixth graders. We are so excited to have you guys at the middle school. I will introduce myself in a little bit, but first we're
We're responsible and on to learn more about what takes place here. First of all, we want to hope that you guys are all safe and sound and following social distancing rules so we can start school in August with you guys on site here. That is our ultimate goal here. So please stay safe. A little bit about myself. I am married, 2 kids. Some of you guys may know the 2 boys I have a son going to be in 7th grade. His name is Carter. And I have a son that's going to be a sophomore in high school, and his name is Caden. And this is currently right now my 20th year in education. So I've been at this a while. And so next year will be my 5th year at the middle school. So we would like to welcome everybody. And if you guys have any questions, please, when we're done, you guys go and ask those. No question is, and we want to make sure that you guys feel safe and comfortable coming here to the middle school. If you guys are done and this presentation is over and you wished you would have asked a question, please email Mr. or myself, or you can also have your parents call, or you can call the middle school myself and we can answer any questions. So once again, it's great to see you guys and welcome.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Hockert. We will proceed on our slideshow here. So the 2 ladies who work in the office for us, our secretaries, are Mrs. Dykey on the top there and Mrs. Appel. You'll be familiar with them. They do an awesome job. Anytime you need to use the phone or you have questions, they'll be able to help you out. So recognize their faces. They're in the office. And then we have myself here. I'm Miss Gunderson, your guys' counselor next year, and I'll have you for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So I'm really excited about that. It will be my 4th year next year in the middle school and my 5th year overall as a counselor next year. We have our student resource officer, Officer Page, who you guys are familiar with. She comes to our middle school as well and does classroom lessons with me and health and different classes. our technology department, Mr. Albertson. On the top there is our tech coordinator, and IT specialist is Mrs. Teely on the bottom. They also do a lot for us. You guys will get your own laptops next year, your own devices one-on-one. So they're in charge of getting all those laptops ready to go, and they're troubleshooting any problems that you guys have. We can't say enough good things about them and the work that they do at our school. Our custodian is Mr. Bredesen, and if you watched the virtual tour that was sent out, he was in the virtual tour. He does an awesome job keeping our school clean, and we really appreciate the work that he does. In the library, we have Mrs. Tooley, who's on the left there, and we have Mrs. Dodge on the right. They are our librarians. And then mornings at the middle school. So this is what a typical morning would look like. The doors would open up at 7:45 for bus kids, and then we would have breakfast served anywhere from 8 to 8:20. So if you do want breakfast, that is offered at the middle school. Kids will be walking the hallways, putting their stuff in their lockers, maybe going to the gym to play basketball. The library there is open. A lot of teachers will have their classrooms open in the morning, so that's a good time to go in and visit with teachers or get help. And the cafeteria is open as well for those students who want to eat breakfast. So in the morning, you're free to do any of those things. Once you hear the first bell ring, which is at 8:25, you would then go to your lockers to get your supplies, and you would also head to your My Time to get your laptop, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here. And then the second bell rings at 8:30, which starts our day at the middle school. So this is an example schedule that we put together. It's what your schedule might look like. So right away in the morning, we go to our My Time to get our laptops. And they'll be in a laptop cart in your My Time teachers class. Our My Times are broken up by houses. So at the middle school, we have 4 different houses, kind of like Harry Potter. How many of you guys have seen Harry Potter? Yeah. So we have 4 houses. They're all a different color. We have the green team, which is Onos, the red team, Bellator, the black team, Valor, and the blue team, which is Vidovis. And so each My Time that you're in, you're also in that house. So like, for example, Mrs. Lyons' My Time is the green house, their Onos. And then during My Times as well, at the end of the day, we have house competitions, and we'll talk more about that too at the end of the slideshow here. So that's the first thing you would do, is just go get your laptop. And then the first period starts at 8:30, and that goes until 9:18. And for example, you might have English with Mrs. Peterson first period. Second period goes from 9:22 to 10:10, and you might have reading with Mrs. Line during that period. Third period for 6th grade is broken up. So you would have half of the period, you would have gym, and then the other half you would have music. So for example, on the top you have Mr. Hampel on the top right, or sorry, top left, and then on the top right you have Mrs. Arnholt. So they would be your gym teachers. You would go to them for period 3A, and then for period 3B you would go to music with Mrs. Stopworth on the bottom left-hand corner there, and band with Mrs. Gerger. And band is actually during period 4C, just so you guys know too. So you would have music and gym during period 3, and then band would be 4C. But we put Mrs. Gerger on there so you can see her. Another period that would be broken up for some of you would be period 4. So you might have Mrs. Zahn for math, and you would stay in her room from 11:06 to 11:31. And then you would leave your stuff in there, and you would go to lunch for period 4B, and lunch is from 11:31 to 11:56 for you guys. And then you would go back to Mrs. Zahn's room to finish the rest of your math from 11:56 to 12:21. Period 4B is your guys' lunch. That's the middle lunch. So you have that from 11:31 to 11:56. And our lunch ladies are Mrs. Cahoot on the left there and Mrs. Clem on the right. And then after eating, basketball, volleyball, or to just sit and socialize with your friends. Period 5, so if you had lunch, then you would go back to Mrs. Zahn's for period 4C, and then period 12:25 to 1:13, and you might have science with Mrs. Smith during that period. And then period 6 is from 1:17 to 2:05, and you might have social studies with Mrs. Line or Mrs. Zahn or Mrs. Peterson or Mrs. Smith. So all of them will have a social studies class. And then the last period of the day from 2:09 to 2:57 is a quarter class, meaning you would have 4 of these in a year. So the first quarter you might have art with Mrs. Morkey, and the second quarter you might have computer class with Mrs. Smith. The third quarter you might have health with Mrs. Peterson, and then the fourth quarter you might have math enrichment with Mrs. Zahn. Reading comprehension is also offered during period 7, and that would be for some of you who maybe need a little extra help with reading, but you'll be put in those classes based off of how things went this year. So don't have to worry about choosing classes or anything like that. And then at the end of the day, you go back to your My Time teachers, back to your house, and that's from 3:01 to 3:25. And that time is just for you to do whatever you need during that time. So a lot of kids will work on homework, or they'll work on IXL. They'll get their AR reading done during that time. And it's also a good time to go to your teachers for help. So let's say you're in Mrs. Line's room and you need to go to math to get help from Mrs. Zahn. You would just let Mrs. Line know after she takes attendance that you're going over to Mrs. Zahn's for math. So that's kind of what My Time's for, is getting caught up with work. And it's also a time at the end of the day for you to plug in your computers and leave them back at the school so they can get charged overnight. And then at 3:25 is the final bell, and that will dismiss you after school to either go to a practice or activity, waiting for the bus. You can meet parents or walk or bike to school. All right, so I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Hockert here, and he's gonna be able to answer your guys' questions. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and then how this works is to please raise your hand when you have a question and Mr. Hockert will call on you, or if you would rather type it in the chat, then you could type your question in there and Mr. Hockert will see that and answer it. So either way works. I know you guys got questions, so.
We had lots of good questions last night, so don't be scared to ask. We probably had about 20 minutes worth of questions, so please ask. All right, no questions. Anybody going to type in the chat? Okay, so what door do you come in was one question in the chat. So we come in, if you guys can picture the loop out front, our parent drop-off loop. So if you're dropped off by your parents, you'll drop off in that loop and you can enter either in the main doors by our office, or we call it the bus door, which should be right off of that main loop. So you can enter that door also. If you take the bus, you'll be dropped off like you normally would when you were dropped off in the elementary, and you would just walk across on that sidewalk and you can enter in one of those 2 doors. So the first day of school, if you're dropped off, don't be nervous. We always have staff members out front guiding you guys where to enter the building at. And then we also go through the first couple of days, we go through all of those procedures of how to come and go, where the bathrooms are, just so you guys are aware of all that. But if you get here and you feel like you're not sure where to go, please ask an adult, but that'll all be laid out for you guys. Another question was, what sports are there? So when you guys are in 6th grade, There is no sports that are tied to the school. So all the sports will remain with the park and rec. So your basketballs, your volleyballs, all of those sports remain with the park and rec. And then once you get into 7th grade, all of your sports and your activities are tied to the school then. That's a great question.
One question that we had yesterday was about lockers. So you guys will get your own locker and you'll have your own locker combination. What we're hoping to do is to have a back to school night before school starts, and that'll be a time for you guys to come in and put stuff in your lockers, meet your teacher, and practice opening and closing your locker. But just know that it's something that it's going to take a while to get used to, but there'll be lots of time for you to practice, and there'll be lots of teachers standing around in the hallways to help you. So I don't want you guys being anxious or nervous about getting into your lockers, okay?
Any further questions? Keep typing away if you do. It's great to see everybody. We're excited to have you.
Nothing, you guys? Carver? Nothing? Anybody curious or worried about anything? Now is a great opportunity to ask. And chances are, if you're thinking about it, there might be others thinking about it. Oh, I know one that came up last night. Well, one of you just talk about how they will have additional lunch choices. I think that's something that is kind of fun at the middle school that you aren't used to at the elementary school.
Yep. So we have a lot of different lunch choices, and we continue to change that and hope to even add more to that. But you usually get 3 to 4 choices depending on the different days. Question yesterday was, do you get seconds? And you get seconds as 8th graders, but not as 6th graders. And also you can take 2 milks. That's one thing that's been pretty popular. If you want to take 2 milks, you can. You get charged for the second milk. So how our lunch works is the bell rings and you guys walk on down and you line up according to your alphabet. And we'll explain all that when you get here. And then you guys go through the lunch line and you get to sit where you want. So you can sit on any tables with any groups of friends. And you're dismissed when you're done eating. We don't dismiss you, so when you're done eating, you go dump your tray, and then we have the gym open. So some people think we don't really have recess, but when you're done, you guys get to go into the gym and play basketball or volleyball, or you can hang out and just talk with friends. You can be on your cell phones during that time, so you can bring cell phones to lunch also. The only thing we ask with cell phones is that you don't have them out as you're going through the lunch line. Some other questions that are, Alexis, do you have a question?
Do we get to walk around the school at the recess for the
Ms. Gunderson or Mrs. Carlson, did you catch what she was saying?
No,
do we get to walk around the house?
Something about walking around the halls.
Give me a thumbs up, Alexis. Are you talking about lunchtime or are you talking about before school? If it's lunchtime, give me a thumbs up if you're talking about walking around the hallways.
I think
Okay.
she's frozen.
Okay. So we do not allow you guys to walk around in the hallways after lunch. So
Do we get to
do me a favor, Alexis, can you type that in the chat, your question? And if you're not able to type it in, maybe you could email that to Mrs. Carlson or Ms. Gunderson or myself. We're having a hard time hearing you. Another question came up that says, do you have to wear gym clothes? Kristen, you do not have to wear gym clothes. You can have your regular clothes that you wear to school. That starts in 7th grade. The only thing that we require for 6th grade gym would be that you have gym shoes just like you would in 5th grade. So that's a great question. Another question was, are the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders all together for the lockers? And the answer to that is pretty much no. Sometimes you guys aren't mixed together at all, but sometimes the 7th grade lockers might butt up against the 6th grade, but you guys are not mixed together. And the 6th grade is pretty much all on their own. And your classes are all in one hallway. So you don't have to roam down to 7th and 8th grade hallways to walk through there. So the only time that you would mainly see 7th and 8th grade would be if you would walk down to lunch, or you get here early enough where you walk hallways before the day starts. Yep, Mrs. Carlson said, when the days that are nice, we have a courtyard, and during lunchtime, we have tables that are set up. Those that want to eat outside can eat outside. Another good question here is, can you have an iPhone in class? So the 6th grade teachers have drop boxes. So, and when you get into the class, you can carry your phone, but they ask that you drop it in the drop box during class time, just so you're not distracted and feel, if it's vibrating or somebody's calling you and you get distracted with that. We're not telling you that you can't go from, you can't carry your phone, but when you enter the classroom, they ask that you drop that cell phone in the drop box. So you can use your phone between periods. Some kids like to check their phone between classes, and that is allowed. So you can have your phone, you just can't have it while sitting at your desk. Another question that came is, how long is the lunch period? So that would be 25 minutes. I think it's 25. I remember it's either 25 or 28 minutes. Our line goes real quick now, and you guys will have at least, especially with your class size of only 76, the lunch line will be done within 10 minutes. So you guys will have at least 15 minutes to eat, at least 15 minutes. So lots of time. Question came about, do you have a party sometimes? So yes, we have lots of fun at the middle school, and that's one of our goals with you guys, is to engage you guys through lots of fun. So every other Friday we do activities during my time, and some of those will be in the gym where we're all together doing relay races. We've had a lot of fun to start our school years too, where some things that we've done is we've had like a dance and then a carnival that's been tied to that. We've had bouncy houses brought in where kids get to bounce on bouncy houses. We've had glow stick parties. Ms. Gunderson, help me out. What else have we done?
We had like a game day where it was nice outside, so we went out and played a bunch of games. But yeah, the carnival, the glow sticks, and then we also have like our house induction ceremony, if you want to call it that. It's where you get selected into your house, so kind of like Harry Potter, where they put the sorting hat on you and they say, you're in this house. Last year, we had cupcakes, and you'd go up and you'd bite into your cupcake, and you could see on the inside if you were in the blue house, the black house, the red house, or the green house. So that's another fun thing too, is that first date you'll be put in your houses.
Another question came across is, do you have to go to band if you're in 5th grade? So that is an option. If you do not want to be in band, I highly suggest if you were in band in 5th grade, we have an awesome band teacher with Mrs. Gerger, and most of the kids that stick with band stick with it all the way through. She's awesome. So my suggestion would be to give it a try for a year if you're questioning it, just to check it out, because she is awesome. But do you have to be in band? If you were in band in 5th grade, the answer to that would be no. But like I said, I would highly suggest staying with it. Another question came across is, do you have to go to class if you do not want to? So that would be consistent like with 5th grade. Yep, so if you're having some problems or you're having some issues, Ms. Gunderson is always around. And maybe Ms. Gunderson wants to talk about that a little bit, but yeah, we require kids to go to class.
Yep, so one of the things that I mentioned yesterday too is that you can always ask your teachers if you need to come down and see me. Just get permission from them, or if it's an emergency, just come down. My room might be shut sometimes, and that just means I'm busy. So I have a nice little lockbox on the side of my room where you can write me a note, put your name on it, and stick it in the lockbox. And then I'll read the note and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Okay. Another question is, did band just 6th graders or are we mixed? You are just with 6th grade. So you don't have to worry about being with 7th and 8th grade. If that's one reason why you didn't want to go out for or have band, it is just 6th graders. And then another question about band was, does our school lend instruments? And the question to that is yes. So if you're in a situation where there might be something that is not allowing you to rent an instrument or your parents don't want you to, but we do lend instruments to kids. Absolutely. Great questions. Keep them coming. If you are currently not in band, maybe a good thing to do would be is to email myself or Mrs. Carlson or Miss Gunderson and you want to be in band, because I know that Mrs. Gerger, our band teacher, is looking for more students and she would like to start lessons even over this summer, so if possible. So if you're interested, please let one of us know.
Raise your hand if you have taken the virtual tour of the middle school. All right, Brenna, Carver, Hannah. Oh, good. Most of you have. If you have not and you would like to, at the end today, I will post in our chat the link, the YouTube link. Miss Gunderson was so kind to record about a 7-minute tour of the middle school, so you get a chance to familiarize yourself with it. You're going to find that it's probably a lot less complicated than the elementary school because it's just one big square. And the nice thing about this is you can watch it as many times as you would like. So at the end of today's little Zoom, I will post it in the chat in case anybody has not gotten a chance to view that.
Another question that just popped up is, do we have field trips? And 6th grade does go on a field trip. They go to the Plains Art Museum, and then they go to Fargo. I can't remember the name. Ms. Gunderson, help me out. The
Planetarium and the Air Museum.
Air Museum, there you go. So we really cross your fingers. We hope that you guys get to do that. Of course, that'll all depend on COVID-19 and the virus, and if we're allowed to travel to another town. So cross your fingers that takes place. Another fun thing that you guys get to do, which is optional, is that you guys get to go up in an airplane in 6th grade also. So you guys have a unit where you have a unit in science that teaches you about space and airplanes, and then we actually have some pilots come and you go up in some planes. So obviously that's with permission from yourself and your parents, but most students, I would say at least 80 to 90% of our students participate in the going up in a plane. So it's fun. Another question says, can we wait outside for the bus or do we have to be inside? So we will announce that. To start the year, it's really nice out, so we'd love to be outside. And the only thing that we require is that you wait on the sidewalk outside by the bus stop. We don't make you line up or anything like that. You guys are in the middle school and we respect that you'll understand space and keep your hands to yourself and be able to stay on the sidewalks. Once it starts to get colder, the 6th graders line up at the bus door, and we'll show you guys where that's at. And then 6th and 7th grade are by the bus door, that's inside. And then the 8th grade lines up by the office. But yeah, if it's nice out, we go outside. If it's cold and miserable, like our winters can be, we wait inside. Alexis, you have a question?
My computer's about today. Can I get out so I can email about the band stuff?
Are you asking about band, Alexis? Give me a thumbs up if you're trying to find out how to get into band. Give me a thumbs up if that was the question, I think. Or can you type it in? Ms. Carlson, did you hear?
No, I didn't. Alexis, I know you have my email. And so I feel like you might just want to email. I want to make sure we get your questions answered. So if you could email them to me, sweetie, and if I don't know them, I'll go to Mr. Hawkert and Ms. Gunderson. Mr. Hawkert, have we talked about the one-on-one computers?
No. Okay. Maybe you guys are wondering about computers. So when you get here in 6th grade, we will issue you guys a computer that you will have for 4 years. And that'll go with you from class to class every day. And it's stored in your My Time. So when you start the day, you'll go to your My Time and you'll grab your computer out of the computer cart, and you'll carry that around from class to class. And then at the end of the day, when you go back to your My Time, then you guys plug that computer in and you put it back into the cart so it's charged back up for the next day. So, and we'll go over all the rules and things with computers. The main thing with computers is we never set them on the ground, or you never set them on your chair. You always store them either on your desk or in your backpack, in your locker. Are there any other questions? Please raise your hand, or you can type it in the chat. Good question. This came across. Are there desks you can open? We do not have any desks that open. I believe all of our 6th grade teachers now have tables. So you guys will sit on tables. Some of them are high top, some of them are low, but your lockers are kind of your desk. So when you go from class to class, you'll just take what you need into that class. All right.
You guys are doing a great job muting yourselves and having good Zoom etiquette. I want to thank you guys for that. There's been no background issues or anything like that. What sometimes happens is as soon as we end this, I just talked about background noises, sorry. As soon as we end this, people will think of, oh, I forgot to ask this question. Please just email it to me, or if you can figure out how to find Ms. Carlson or Mr. Hawkert's email address, you can email it to them. But it's okay to have questions, and if you think of them later, still reach out to us. Remember, you're gonna get a schedule mailed out to you when it gets closer to the fall, so then you'll know exactly what your schedule looks like. And then you will also hopefully have like a back to school open house so you can see your locker and everything like that. I'm gonna post the virtual tour down here, and I'm gonna mute myself because it just got really loud. I apologize. It's great to see you guys. I miss you.
2 more questions came up. I'll answer these quick, and then if anybody else has any, throw them in the chat right now or raise your hand. Can we sit anywhere in the classroom? So that's up to the teacher, but my experience with 6th grade is most of the time that they would have assigned seats for you. The first day they'll just probably have you pick a seat, but for most of the time they would have assigned seats for you. Another question came up about, can we chew gum? So there can be no gum in the gym, and there's no gum brought down to the lunchroom. So most of the time, gum is not allowed. And I believe the 6th grade teachers, for the most part, do not allow them in their classrooms, but that's up to each individual teacher. Those are questions that you can ask them. My experience with middle school teachers is if you can keep them off the desk and off under the desk and the floor, majority of the time they allow gum. The times that they don't allow it would be is when they start to find it around their room stuck to things. So if you guys want gum, I would make sure that you throw it away when you're done. Can you use a calculator? Yes, we do use calculators at the middle school, and it depends on for what assignment though in math. So some of the time you'll get to use a calculator, and then other times she may say that you cannot. So your math will be similar to like 5th grade as far as using a calculator. Can we have a snack? So that's another great question. That came up yesterday of can we bring a drink or a snack to class. So food would not be allowed in the classrooms. But Mr. Hawkert's rule with food is, I understand middle school kids, I raise middle school kids, and they're always hungry. If you would like to bring a snack, to grab something between classes, a granola bar, or maybe there's a Gatorade or something like that that you want to keep in your locker. We do allow that. The times that I have not allowed is when we start to find it on the ground. So if you do have snacks, one of our rules is that you throw your garbage away. And if I start to find snacks spread out all over the floor and my janitor's having to sweep that food up a lot, then we would stop allowing snacks. But yeah, we understand that you get hungry and you can have a snack in your locker, but not in your room. If you want to bring water to your classrooms, you can do that. We ask that there's no pop, so everything must remain healthy. All right. I see that Mrs. Carlson just posted the virtual tour, so please, if you have a chance, click on that. It kind of gives you a tour of the middle school. And kind of the joke in the middle school is that you can never get lost, because if you do, you just have to walk in a circle. Middle school is it's in a square, but you just walk around the circle and you'll get right back to where you need to be. So no fears whatsoever. But it was great to see you guys. If you guys have further questions, please email us at any time throughout the summer. So you guys stay safe and sound and have a great summer.
Bye, guys.